So good evening. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this atrocious story today. Already see people on Facebook. Oh, Trump was wrong. Oh, if you take the time to read the article and then keep in mind what I've said in the last couple of videos about language and NLP and being able to pick things out of what you're reading or what you're being told, you can find the problems with this pretty darn quick. So, of course, this is from the Associated Press. More deaths, no benefit from malaria drug in VA study by this chick. So, a malaria drug, which was widely touted by President Donald Trump for treating the new coronavirus, showed no benefit in a large analysis of its use in U.S. veteran hospitals. Okay, so let's stop. First and foremost, let's go back to use what Donald Trump talked about, the combination of the two. Hydroxychloroquine with a Z-Pack. You can see it. It's right there. There's the tweet. It's what he said. So they're already misquoting. They're already shifting the narrative from what was actually said to what they're trying to argue, right? So anyway, there were more deaths among those given hydroxychloroquine versus standard care, researchers reported. Okay, again, what was touted was the Z-Pack hydroxychloroquine combination, not just hydroxychloroquine. So they're already setting this up as a false narrative. So anyway, the nationwide study was not a rigorous experiment. We'll get back to that. But with 368 patients, it's the largest look so far of hydroxychloroquine with or without the antibiotic as the Z-Pack for COVID-19, which has killed more than 171,000 people as of Tuesday. Okay, so they're setting you up with the whole deaths. Oh, everybody's going to die. They're setting you up with, this is the largest test to date. No, it's not. There's doctors all over the country that have been doing this in sizes larger, sizes smaller. It just has not been an empirical study. It doesn't have all, and we'll get into the other stuff here in a minute, what goes around with the test. But they've been using it as an actual treatment. There's been thousands of people treated and thousands of people cured with this combination of this drug. So this might be the largest sanctioned test, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But no, it's been used by a lot of people, on a lot of people, to the tunes of thousands, and people in the thousands have recovered using this drug combination. So they're already lying to you twice. So anyway, this study was posted on an online search for research and has not been reviewed by other scientists. So all you people that want to, if you don't have three little letters attached to your name, if it hasn't been peer reviewed, because that's what some of you guys key on. Okay, so right off the bat, you've got to dismiss the story because this hasn't been peer reviewed. It's your argument, it's not mine. So, okay, they start off with two lies, mistruths. And then they let you know that it has not been peer reviewed, which is kind of some surprisingly honest reporting. But if you believe in it has to be peer reviewed and has to have, meet this certain criteria, then this whole article is bunk anyway, so along with this test. And we'll get into that in a little bit too. And grants from the National Institutes of Health and the University of Virginia paid for the work. So NIH, which has been positing that we need a vaccine, the one that Bill Gates happens to have and owns the patent to, which hasn't been tested, they funded this test with a grant. And I'm going to show you where the conflict is, not the conflict of interest, but some underhanded stuff that's going on. So here's the AP purporting this story that, Orange Man bad, he said this would work and it didn't, gotcha, right? Okay. Let's get into it. Researchers analyzed medical records of 368 male veterans hospitalized with confirmed coronavirus infections at a Veterans Health Administration medical centers who died or were discharged by April the 11th. Okay? So some died, some discharged. They're male veterans at a VA hospital. Did they have other conditions? Were they taking other medications? Did they have COPD, respiratory issues, cardiac issues? What's their other medical conditions? Were they nominally healthy males? Why just males? Why weren't females tested? What were their were they obese? What were their body weight? What was their physical shape like, or their physical stature like? Were they in good shape? Were they out of shape? Were they big and fat? Were they, what? They're just male veterans at a veterans hospital, which I'm not going to get into the veterans hospital, but they don't have the best reputations. They don't. I've been to a few. They don't. So anyway, so now we get into this. About 28%. Oh, you know what? Hold that thought. I'm going to let somebody else explain this. He did a video on this today, or this was part of his overall broadcast, but I'm going to let you hear his words. So we're going to see what he has to say about this, and I hope you catch it.
That about 28% given chloroquine plus usual care died versus 11% of getting routine care alone. Doesn't sound good. About 22% of those getting the drug plus the Z-Pack died too. Oh, wait, what's this? Let me read that there. But the difference between that group and usual care was not considered large enough to rule out other factors that could have affected survival. Wait. Just to be clear, they did a statistical analysis, which is how you eliminate confounding variables. Let me just get to the point first. Yeah. They did a statistical analysis and showed that it wasn't rigorous enough to say that the chloroquine didn't work. In your own report, where you're touting how chloroquine doesn't work.
So I hope you caught that. I hope you caught what he was saying. So anyway, back to the article. Hydroxychloroquine made no difference in the need for a breathing machine either. How do you know that? Were these people ever going to need a ventilator with or without hydroxychloroquine? How do you know? If they're in the hospital, did they all get put on ventilators or breathing machine? Notice they use breathing machine instead of ventilator too, by the way, because they're using CPAPs, BiPAPs, and ventilators, two non-invasive, one invasive breathing machine to treat these people. How do you know if it made no difference or not? How do you know if they were even going to need to be on a ventilator or not? Were they already on a ventilator, then you try to treat them? So anyway, moving on. Research did not track side effects, but noted a hint that hydroxychloroquine might have damaged other organs. Hint, might. You're the Associated Press. You're publishing a story that's with headlines that more deaths, no benefits, malaria drugs, and a virus, and you're putting hint, might about organ damage. Why is it even in there? If there's no proof that it did, why is it in there? For you people that pay attention, this is another way they're building a case, a correlation argument based on a fallacy. It's to paint a narrative that just to drop that bit of bad news to everything associated with hydroxychloroquine is bad news. That's how they play you. So anyway, researchers did not, the drug has long been known to have potentially serious side effects, including altering the heartbeat in a way that could lead to sudden death. So yeah, hydroxychloroquine has been around for a very long time. There are known side effects to it. It says right here, this is healthline.com, serious side effects, blurred vision, heart disease, including heart failure, and issues with your heart rhythm. It's a known side effect. Even people that were given the medication to treat malaria, which is what it was specifically designed for, had heart issues because of a side effect from this drug. It's a known side effect. Why is that tidbit of information in here? Why is it what they're painting to you is This drug isn't working. It's causing organ damage, and it's even making people's hearts stop. It's not helping COVID-19. Moving on. Earlier this month, scientists in Brazil stopped part of a study testing chloroquine, an older drug similar to hydroxychloroquine, after heart rhythm problems developed. We've already hit that. In 1/4 of people given the higher of 2 doses being tested. First question I have is, what about the other 3/4 of the people? Did they keep testing? Did they take them off the regimen? What was the outcome? So they hyperlinked to the study, which is another AP article. Oh, yeah, by the way, it's the same author. So anyway, scientists in Brazil stopped part of a story, 1/4 of people given a higher 2 doses being tested. So they were overdosing people, giving them more than they needed, and it created a heart rhythm. That's one of the side effects of this drug, and it's what happens when you overdose on medication or you give somebody too big of a dose of medication. That's the doctor's fault. Anyway, been pushed by President. Okay, chloroquine, a newer, similar drug called hydroxychloroquine, have been pushed by President Donald Trump after some very small. Okay, notice the term, even though thousands have been using it. Early tests suggest the drugs might curb the virus in cells, blah, blah, blah. The Brazilian study in the Amazonian city of blah, 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 and 440 severely ill COVID-19 patients to test doses of blah, 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 after anyone had been, but researchers reported results after only 81 had been treated. Okay, 1/4 of those assigned to get the 600 milligram twice a day for 10 days developed heart rhythm problems. It's too big a dose. And trends suggested more deaths were occurring in that group, so scientists stopped that part of the study. Okay, fair enough. The other group was given 450 milligrams twice a day for the first day and then once a day for 4 more days. That is closer to what's being tried in some other studies. Oh, there are other studies going on. It's interesting. It's too soon to know whether that will prove safe or effective. The Brazil study had no comparison group that was getting no treatment. Okay, so when you're conducting a test, right, there's controls. So here's an article from Forbes about this guy from France who's the one who kind of started really pushing for the whole hydroxychloroquine thing in conjunction with the Z-Pack to control potential bacterial infection. Anyway, he puts it out, he puts the information out. His boss basically supported him, pushed it out. Here's the link to the article if you want to pause and look at it, it's fine. The report published online claimed that 40 coronavirus patients, blah, 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 right? So this is where it got pushed out. So the interesting part is down here. Many doctors don't support the research results. Okay. To be clear, Dr. Anthony Fauci, Trump's top infectious disease advisor, by the way, that's setting up an appeal to authority argument. Why would he need to put that in there? We all know who Dr. Fauci is. That's an appeal to authority. They're establishing his authority in this particular, what's getting ready to happen. So anyway, warned that there was only anecdotal evidence that the drugs could be helpful. Researchers have been scornful of the results of this French trial because, as reported by The Guardian, the doctors did not include a control group in those tests to compare treated viruses versus untreated patients. The lack of controls made it difficult to determine if the drugs work. Oh, so there's control groups in a study. Okay, well, let's take it back. Malaria drug. This is the original article. Yeah, no, I don't see anything about a control group. I don't see anything. Oh, wait, there's more. Let's go to the NIH's website. So this is the NIH Gov news event website, right? Oh, blah, the outcomes, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, what's going on? Okay, the first participants have enrolled in the trial at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, Nashville, one of dozens of centers in the PEDAL network. The blinded, placebo-controlled, randomized clinical trial aims to enroll more than 500 adults who are currently hospitalized with COVID-19 or in an emergency department with anticipated hospitalization. So from the NIH, this is what's supposed to happen. You have a blinded, placebo-controlled, randomized clinical trial. This is what the NIH is supporting here. This is what they're supporting here. Right. See, well, no, right here. The blinded, placebo-controlled, randomized clinical trial. Again, this is the NIH's website. This is considering the NIH clinical trial of hydroxychloroquine, a potential therapy for COVID-19 begins. This was in Thursday, April 9th, 2020. So it's a blind-controlled, randomized test, which comports with what was in here about the control group testing, right? But the AP article today that everybody's pushing, that everybody's using as a whipping a whip against Trump, right? There's no control. There's no randomization. This is not a test. What milligrams doses are they using? What are the patient's past history? What are the patient's previous issues? What is their how long have they been infected? How serious are their symptoms? Because everything that I've read about the hydroxychloroquine and Z-Pak combination was that there's a prime window to start using it on a patient. Once you're past that window, it doesn't really work very well. There's a set time frame between mild symptoms and severe symptoms when it's the best opportune time to treat them. Where were these patients at in their symptomology? But yet, we're going to say that it didn't work because, Orange Man bad. So anyway, get back over here. So on Tuesday, the NIH issued new treatment guidelines from a panel of experts saying there was not enough evidence to recommend for or against chloroquine or hydroxychloroquine for COVID-19. It's already been released for use. Who the fuck cares? But it also advised against using hydroxychloroquine with the Z-Pak because what has that got to do with this article? They're talking up here about hydroxychloroquine. They're not talking about a Z-Pak. There's one blurb we'll see here in just a little bit. But why is that brought in here? All of a sudden now this shows up. Although it really hasn't been part of this test. This, non-controlled, non-randomized, non-placebo test that the NIH is supporting with money. Weird, isn't it? So anyway, many doctors have been learning drugs, whatever. Okay, again, that's an appeal to authority fallacy anyway, because it's many doctors. Well, what doctors? What are their pedigrees? What are their fields of study? And what is their experience level? Are they scientists? Or are they just general MDs? And how many is many? 5, 2, 6, 6,000? What's many? So anyway, at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, I think we're rather underwhelmed at what's been seen among a few patients there who have tried it, said Dr. Nashia Safdar, excuse me if I mispronounced your name, Medical Director of Infection Control and Prevention. What's been seen among the few patients there who have tried it? Um, 500 adults in this NIH clinical study. This one had, what was it? 368. So 368 is not enough. It's too few patients, but 500 is okay. Anyway, it's a nonsensical statement. Who cares? It's one doctor. And we're talking about it in an article where it was not controlled, it was not blinded, it was not placeboed, and not randomized. We don't know anything about the backgrounds of the patients. We don't know of any pre-existing conditions that could have complicated or been complicated because of COVID, to which this medicine wouldn't really have worked anyway. If somebody has COPD, if somebody has respiratory issues, if somebody has cardiac issues, somebody has hypertension or is obese, hyperthyroidism. We don't know. But yet, Orange Man bad, and this drug doesn't work. So anywho, the NIH and others have more rigorous tests underway. Hold on. Oh, sorry, I missed one. Patients asked about it soon after Trump started promoting its use. But now I think that people have realized we don't know if it works or not. According to who? There's thousands of doctors across the globe that have used it and it's worked. It hasn't worked 100%. Nobody's proclaimed it to be a 100% cure. There's nothing that we really have that's a 100% cure. But it's worked on patients. It's what's the oh yeah, if we can just save one life. I guess that doesn't apply. I guess that it doesn't count. Nope. Flag on the field, because this is something that Trump touted. Nope. Even if, that study of the 40 people in France, 8 of them were saved or whatever the number was, that's not good enough. But if we could just save one life by keeping everybody at home and destroying our economy, it's worth it. I hope you're opening your eyes. So anyway, so that's the rest of that information. There was an article I also saw from ABC. This is abc7.com. It's worth a read. So anyway, it's kind of gives you some information about other people that have, other doctors that have used it in their varied success or whatever. So I threw that in there for shits and giggles, basically. But I hated YouTube videos when people read the whole article, but in this case, it was kind of necessary to me, in my mind, because it was so full of bullshit that everything needed to be pointed out and broken down to show you how bad that article really was. Not bad meaning it showed Trump to be a fool, but how one-sided, agenda-driven language being used to control what you're thought, the appeal to authority, the negative correlation fallacies that they used in it. It's all there. My other previous videos where I'm talking about the language piece, this is an example of the written side of it. This is what they do when they're writing. It's all a bunch of crap. I hope this helps explain, if you got your liberal friends and liberal family members that are using this to, bash this potential treatment. Regardless if it's bashing Trump or not, it's a potential treatment that could possibly save hundreds or thousands of people's lives. It may not save everybody's lives, but it's already been proven to save lives. Even if it just saves one life, right? What's the big deal? Why are our mainstream press, why is the NIH, why are all these liberal lunatics so afraid and opposed to a treatment like this? Oh, that's right. They can't control it. It's a drug with no patent, no copyright. It's cents on a dollar. There's no money to be made. And they can't control you because you can control it yourself. Just my thoughts. Have fun with it.